Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Skillless Podcast. My name is Josh Carrillo, and joining me as always is my wonderful co-host, Seph Luna. Seph, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How about you, man? Have a good weekend?
Yeah, I did. This weekend I took the time to finish one of my RuneScape skills to 99, so I only have 8 more levels until I have that sweet max cape after, 15 plus years of playing that damn game.
That's a lot of years to put into a game at that point.
So it's a love-hate relationship between me and that game, because all you do is you click a tree, you click a fish, you sit there, you click again, someone said that it's like Cookie Clicker the MMO is the greatest way I heard that described the other day, and I could not agree more, because it's absolutely true. Other than that, we watched a little bit more Cobra Kai, catched up on a couple movies that I was missing, and really that's it for my weekend. What about you?
Basically, I kind of just stayed home, like take care of my mom since my brother's out on camping and everything too. I played a lot more Mega Man Battle Network, watched a couple of videos about Twisted Metals and some. Ironically, there was an interesting video I watched which was about the American Psycho timeline and everything too, like a whole timeline of it, which is almost 2 hours long.
Movie, right?
It is a movie, but it's also a novel too. That somebody actually went and made a whole timeline of the whole thing from his life from beginning to birth to like whatever current they ended on to.
You'll have to tell Esteban to add that to the list of movies I haven't seen.
Yeah, I need to watch that too as well. So don't worry.
Because that's where the memes exist with like Christian Bale and stuff, correct?
Yes, that's the one where like he's pointing at the stereo, just almost like rocking his head and everything like that.
Gotcha. Well, this week on the Skillless Podcast, we are going to discuss the PlayStation Showcase, as well as the most recent Destiny 2 survey that came out, and then the current state of Destiny after the season dropped. So, do you wanna jump into PlayStation Showcase?
Yeah, so basically or at least I heard about the PlayStation Showcase beforehand, and it wasn't until like maybe the day of that I kind of asked Josh over here, hey, do you want to just watch it together? So we basically did watch it together and everything, and it wasn't until I really didn't record it too, because I was thinking like, oh, there wasn't going to be really much of a reveal or like at least something that excited us. It wasn't until after that one point where we were watching, we currently now know as the Solid Snake trailer and everything too. We were watching it, we didn't know that it was going to be anything like that. So once it got to like the alligator and snakes and everything, and it started zooming into the coverage, like the bushes and everything too, I was saying like, oh hey look, watch it be Solid Snake and everything too, just out of nowhere. I was not expecting it. Once it finally zoomed in, we saw the head slowly peeking up. I was like, at least in my mind, it looked like I was looking at him saying like, that's his head. Wait, what the hell's going on here? Wasn't until it fully realized that it was an actual Solid Snake thing. I was like, I gotta start recording this right now too.
Did I send you that TikTok?
Which one?
I sent you a I don't remember if I did, but it was of the exact same situation. Some streamer was watching the PlayStation Showcase, and he was watching that video specifically. He's like, all right, where's Solid Snake popping up from the water? And then all of a sudden, 10 seconds later, Snake pops up from the water, and I was
God.
like, oh.
Right?
What a weird thing to get right. But
oh yeah, definitely.
I think it was a good showcase overall. There's a lot of indie titles. I'm expecting that also from Xbox as well.
Yeah.
Do you have any like hits or anything that caught your eye that you are looking to pick up? I know for sure I want to pick up that. Oh, what is it called? It's that samurai game.
Oh yeah, that new samurai game that looks almost like a Bloodborne kind of thing.
But what are you looking forward to, Seph?
And honestly, there's not like a lot that kind of only few in there for me kind of hit and everything. Definitely the Miles Morales. If I had a PlayStation, I definitely would want to play that as well. And the fact that Assassin's Creed too, that looked exactly amazing. Like going back to the roots of the old school Assassin's Creed games, which I actually absolutely love and everything too.
Mirage does look good. I wonder if this time we'll actually be able to swim in the beautiful waters of that area.
Instead of just like falling down and just dying like in Destiny and everything.
Yeah. I definitely want to pick up Metal Gear Solid. That looked awesome, and we've been long overdue.
Yeah, it's been a long time, especially the fact too that like this is especially still after the Hideo Kojima kind of like whole fiasco thing that happened and everything too.
Yeah. Phantom Blade Zero, by the way, was that game's title, and oh my gosh, that game looked so fluid and beautiful, and oof. If that's how the actual sword combat is in game, I'm gonna pick that up day one for sure.
That did look like it was in-game engine from the way it looked like from that whole thing. I was gonna say there was one thing that really caught me by surprise though was Bungie bringing back Marathon though.
So, what is Marathon from what you know? Because I don't know very much about it.
So Marathon, as I know for right now, is originally Bungie's first game into the whole like business and everything too. So it's literally their first IP before they got into Halo and everything with Xbox.
Oh, interesting. So, what? Like, did this game ever come out, or was it?
It did come out and everything, but I think I don't remember much clearly about it. But as I said, I do remember it was the game. I think it did come out. I'm looking up the thing for it. It originally came out on the Mac devices in 1992.
Oh
That's
my gosh!
yeah, that's how long ago. That was back when Mac devices usually used to play games and everything too. That's how long ago it was. But yeah, it is an original game from Bungie that was originally made before Halo too. So this is like pre Halo days and everything too.
Do you think there's going to be lore from the original game that we're going to have to go back and scrounge through?
I'm looking at one of the IGN articles about it. It says the game isn't a direct sequel to the original, but it does belong within the same universe of that whole IP and everything.
So we're going to have to whip out those old dusty Macs and figure out what we're missing. It looked good. I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, but but after that though, I think our real talking point at this point that kind of blew us both out of the way. And if you really want to see our reaction to that, it is on our official YouTube channel at Team No Skill. And it was the Destiny 2 teaser to the final shape,
which we'll get into here in a little bit. The spoilers ahead for that. We'll let you know when these spoilers come up. But there was a lot of indie games that got announced too that I just thought were kind of misses. It's just there was so many like 2D titles that just looked so generic after a while that you're just not really interested. And I get that they have like an indie budget and they need to like, in order to receive the money they're allocated for their game development sector, they need to develop indie games, but they just looked so subpar.
Yeah, most of it really didn't catches my eye because it kind of like started like kind of get into more like artsy or like not really artsy, but it's kind of like you can kind of see the same style going off from each different like indie games that you can tell. I was gonna say that you can also probably tell from the that we're gonna probably see it more also in the Xbox as you said too as well, and also the same with the game Summerfest too as well. That's coming up soon.
So I'm referring to every game except Cat Quest, Pirates of the Caribbean, because that game it was so cute. I would actually go out of my way to pick that up and just play the crap out of it. And I think Brooklyn would probably like that game too. It would definitely be.
There's another one that I thought was pretty good, which was the Digital Devolver one, which was a 2D and 3D platformer kind of thing, which kind of caught me off guard.
That would have been. Oh man, Plucky's the Plucky Squire. I think that was what it was called, right? That definitely looked like a good one too.
Yeah, that one definitely looked a pretty good one, which I was not expecting it to be like going in and out of the books and everything too.
Something I was surprised that you had a positive reaction to was Final Fantasy 16, just because it looked so beautiful, and then when you saw like Ifrit and all of the oh, what are they called? I'm disgracing all of my Final Fantasy 14 friends.
I know, right?
They're not Titans. They're anyway. You actually were almost freaking out at the crazy shit that's gonna come, and that comes out in a month.
Yeah. So I mean, like as I said before, I don't have a PlayStation at all. I would love to get a PlayStation if my budget allowed me to, but the Final Fantasy games have been very interested into me over the years and everything too, because I've been kind of curious on that, like because I do like some RPG games too as well as some. If you've seen some of my game lists and everything, like it's few here and there, but like I do enjoy a good story and everything too. While watching that trailer, it did looks really interesting just from watching it too, especially like knowing how good it looks, as well as like I know between you and Draper playing the MMO online and everything too as well, and getting excited for it.
The MMO is so good. That's probably still one of the only few S tier MMOs that currently exists in the 2023 realm.
Which I think has some mileage already on it too, ain't it?
Uh, yeah. Do you know the history of 14?
No, I do not. I know only the stuff that you kind of really I hear from you and Draper. That's it.
So 1.014 was developed just by Square Enix, and it was so bad that they
Shit.
hired an individual named Yoshi P, who we absolutely love and stan, to come in and completely fix the clusterfuck that was Final Fantasy XIV. So in game, they had this cataclysmic event that destroyed the entire world and the servers at the exact same time. And then you would relog in after the world and servers exploded into 2.0, into this more flushed out version of the game. Now, a lot of people weren't around to experience 1.0. My roommates have, and that's actually how they met, is on 14. They fell in love.
Oh yeah, I forgot to remember that.
They fully knocked out 1.0 with a bomb, and then 2.0 came out, and it has been one of the longest running MMOs that have been hit after hit after hit each expansion. It is so good, and the story is so good. I'll admit, oh no, they just actually went back and redid the voice acting for all of the original content that came out 10 years ago, and now it is phenomenal. The free to play incentives are so good too, because they give you, I think, 2 free expansions on top of that to play. It is insane.
That's actually not bad at all. That's actually really good, if anything.
No, and it's not like the WoW system where you have to make an individual character for each job / class you want to play.
Oh jeez.
You can play all of them on one character. It's so good.
That's actually really good then.
So good. But 16 I'm definitely looking forward to, because Yoshi P and Creative Business Suite 3 is the head development team for 16. And oh my god, I cannot wait. I have that bad boy pre-ordered. I am itching at the chance to fight. Ah, so good.
I bet, yeah. It did look a very good, interesting game, just from the way how it looks and everything. So I'm kind of curious, how the story's gonna be too as well. Because if you got a good story hooked into it, I'll definitely be playing into it. If anything,
I would also, if you do ever pick up a PS5, encourage you to get that Spider-Man game as well.
Yes, that's the one thing I've been really wanting to play, ever since I seen it from your play.
The gameplay is so fluid. Now, the only crap part is all 3 games now take place in New York City, so the map is the exact same every time. And I mean, I get it. It's Spider-Man, but it's going to start to feel a little repetitive.
A little monotonous.
After a hot, I'm currently at the DLC for Spider-Man 1. I still haven't played Miles Morales. It's on my backlog.
Yeah.
But oh god, it is such a large map, and there's so many collectibles, and it's worth it in the end. But when you're gonna get to Spider-Man 2's time, you are in for a change of scenery.
I bet. Yeah. As I said, I've been curious on that game and everything too. That seems pretty good, and plus, I've been kind of curious on those PSVR games too as well. That been on there too, because there is a simple game that isn't on the PC as well, is Ace Combat VR that was only released on the PlayStation 2.
So you'll actually, do you know the shit part about PSVR?
What?
PlayStation 1 VR games do not work on PlayStation 2 VR.
Oof, that really
so
sucks.
Your Ace Combat game, you'll have to get a PS4 with a PS4 VR to play that game, because you cannot play the other ones.
Well, damn, that really sucks to hear then. Shit.
Yes, so before you get your hopes up on that,
yeah,
I
of course,
highly reconsider that you do that, because it's not.
Right? But also, kind of going on the VR thing, the one thing I was also kind of surprised to see from the VR showcase and everything too, on part that was the Five Nights at Freddy Help Wanted 2 part as well.
That, and I'm not. My lady and I watch like Matt Patton stuff for
Oh,
a
I
lot
watch him
of
too.
the FNAF content because one, I'm a giant chicken shit and I'll never actually sit down to play those games, and two, there's just so much that I'm not. There's no way you could start in 2023 playing those games
No,
front to
yeah.
back.
Also, then there are some games too that like are not like currently available, like especially like with FNAF 1.0 or FNAF World 1.0. Like that one's actually been taken off, but luckily some people are actually able to save it and upload it too as well, because they have the current FNAF World that leads into sister location and everything too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm with you on that one. I've been watching like Matt Pat's theories on it since it first came out back in what 2013,
Yeah.
2014. Yeah, and
That
especially
man,
like
that poor man has been on a mission to fix and figure out that timeline.
dude, he fixed that timeline too many damn times already at this point. But yeah, we also then like we first started too by watching just Markiplier too, just playing the first hands. Like was it the demo first and then the official release?
Yep, and then he somehow became the king of FNAF. I hope he's in the movie because the movie comes out October 29th.
Oh, I can't wait for that movie so much.
While I may be a giant chicken shit, I would actually go out of my way to watch that movie.
I know, I would so love to see that movie right now, if anything.
And we'll have the FNAF cinematic universe, and then we're all gonna be fucked.
Right? Like every single media like brings in a piece of thing for the final timeline.
Did you see? Okay, I actually have a problem. I'm not a huge FNAF stan, but this actually pissed me off royally.
Go ahead.
They were I don't know if it was the FNAF community or just like fake fan base or whatever, but they were petitioning to get the colors of the animatronics' eyes changed from black or from red to black because it didn't match for the movie.
Yeah,
but
I
my
saw that.
issue isn't that the fact that that's number one, it's controlled by Afton, if I'm correct, so then
Yes.
the eyes should be red.
Yeah.
But two, my issue is they were comparing it to the ugliness that was Sonic the Hedgehog 1.0.
Hold on, wait, what?
Sonic 2. They
How
were
does-
I
There's
know,
no-
it's so stupid.
There's no way. Plus, also then the fact that they're not CGI characters; they're literally puppets from the Jim Henson
I
Creature
know,
Shop.
but they weren't complaining about the ugliness of the puppets and the animatronics. They were just complaining about the eyes, but they were
Yeah.
using the same comparison of Sonic
my
1
God.
to Sonic Finished.
Jesus
And I was like,
Christ.
no, that's not the same thing.
Oh my god! And what's funny thing too, like I was like reading into that, or I wasn't reading into that specific one, but I saw that like basically there is a difference between the red eyes and the black and white eyes. The fact that the red eyes they're more into attack mode of the animatronics, while the white, like the black eyes with the white pupils, are more like when they're possessed by the kids and everything too as well.
Right, from the red eyes were from Afton.
Yeah.
The black eyes are the kids. So it would also make sense that they have red eyes. But the fact that they compared it, I was just like, this is the stupidest thing I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, that's a really dumb petition just for that, and the dumbest comparison of all time, because the Sonic one was a whole thing on
Yeah.
its own at that point.
If you all haven't ever seen the original character art for Sonic the Hedgehog movie, I highly encourage you to do so because it is atrocious.
Oh yeah, which is, you know what's a funny fact too about that? I have that if you know the Chip and Dale movie that came out recently from Disney Plus, right? The only one that's on there.
Yeah, well, it's like half 2D, half 3D.
Yeah, he's actually in that movie.
Ugly Sonic?
Ugly Sonic is actually in that movie.
Oh, that's so funny.
It's-
And
I would give it-
I have to watch that movie just because there's a Kingdom Hearts reference hidden somewhere that I'm trying to find.
Yeah, I need to watch it with you because there's gonna be so much references that you're gonna see in there. Like, especially like I'll give you one reference right now. Like towards the very there's I think in the third half of the movie or the like third quarter of the movie, they run by a bus stop or like a bus bench and everything where they sit to wait for the bus. On the thing, there's an advertisement that says "Butthead for President" on there.
Hell yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, that's the funnier part right there, if anything.
Do you think you'll dabble with the new, like, speaking of Disney, the new, like, Little Mermaid movie? Or have you not watched any of the live-action ones?
I haven't really much watched any of the live action ones, if anything. It doesn't really
missing much, to be fair. I heard, like, Peter Pan and Wendy was, like, one of the worst movies that came out. Pinocchio was okay.
Not bad, at least. I did watch the Pinocchio ones. I was kind of okay. I did kind of like some of the concepts on there.
I didn't like the Lion King one specifically just because you can't get the emotions portrayed on an actual lion versus the animated lions, although someone went back and re-edited them, and it's a whole different experience when they have like
Facial structures and everything.
like more humanoid facial movements.
Yeah, okay, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, that one's gonna be a tough one to try to do live action, especially like trying to convey the emotions that they have and everything on there.
I saw a funny TikTok because most of my media consumption comes from either YouTube or TikTok. Uh, of the woman who portrays Ariel in this movie, like sitting on these blue suits humans, and they're like moving in crab motion, but without the CGI, it just looks goofy as hell.
It's always funny to see like stuff pre CG from the movies and everything, just to see how goofy it looks and everything too on there.
So, moving on into our next topic, and this is going to be a very Destiny heavy conversation because, spoiler alert, the final Shape trailer dropped in the PlayStation showcase, and somehow Cade 6 returns. And yes, I'm quoting Star Wars. It's our sweet Hunter Vanguard returned, and my initial reaction wasn't to freak out, but after a while, I was just like, wait, he's actually alive and he's actually here. What was your reaction to that, Seph?
And honestly, just going from the trailer and everything too, like as I said, like if you really want our full like initial reaction, it is up on our official YouTube channel. But at least from my thought reaction was the fact that like, all right, who is she talking to originally? What is going on here? Like, because the way she was talking to was almost like at least somebody that she hasn't talked to in a long time, or at least gone and everything too. And then once it reveals, because there's a little part in the trailer that you see that like of the hunter doing the Cade 6 traditional, like, you know, his classic like 6-shooter shooting style and everything too. Wasn't until that like appeared on the Ace of Spades, and I saw it was the initial reaction was like, oh, this Ace of Spades, but it looks all busted up and everything too. And then slowly transitioned into Cade 6, which kind of really blew my mind on that too, because it's the fact that like it's Cade 6 originally, but it's after his death and everything too. That's like, what the hell's going on here at this point, if anything?
I just like I rewatched that video recently, and I liked that. I was like, oh, I saw the gun immediately. I'm like, oh, it's Cade, and you're just like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, you could tell you could tell initially when I realized who it was to compare to what Josh initially late reaction to it when it finally clicked onto you.
I'm definitely excited for the Destiny showcase that's coming up in August. And so with something that we talked about last week, I asked you, Seph, if you could, what would you change about Destiny 2?
Yeah,
would you make a new game? Would you change some things?
Yeah, and it's a funny thing too, because like, and that's because also, and this was for context, I never read the patch notes, or it's not that I don't read the patch notes, it's the fact that there's certain like articles I don't read that's connected to the newest season unless it's from like a Bungie officially. So I kind of forgot to like watch or read the this week's at Bungie stuff, and there was one specific where I was talking about the sweet business and everything on there, which I kind of will redact on it because the fact that they actually did do an update to Sweet Business to actually add certain bullets that you shoot out will have an explosive payload onto it, so it'll add a little bit more damage onto it, which actually does make it a little bit more fun because it actually adds a bit more damage onto what you're already doing with the initial like 200 rounds you're already shooting out at that point.
Yeah, definitely a good machine gun. But in asking you, and prior to or after our conversation, there was a Destiny 2 survey that dropped, specifically asking players what the survey itself asks, and from the list below, what, if anything, do you feel is missing from or would you like to see added to Destiny 2?
Yeah, there's a certain couple ones that I saw on there that like looks pretty interesting. But the one thing that everybody was pointing out, or at least some people that, especially the one that caught my eye, was specifically one item that they asked about, which is what got released this season, which was fishing.
See,
Which
and I'm excited. Like, I'll actually say fishing is awesome. I hate the fact that I don't want an end game grind to farm armor, even though I need it. I just want fishing bait from all of my activities, so I can just go sit and fish the whole time.
yeah, which is funny thing too, because they literally decided like, oh, people are gonna like fishing because they literally put 500 bait in a tackle box that you could farm up to and literally just fish for that long too, which is the funniest thing that's probably was the one of the, to me at least, probably the one that the least expected, like, or even them, they probably didn't think that fishing was gonna take off this much just from the game because of how much stuff that just came from before and everything too, because of it's an actual new activity that anybody can just join at that point, unless you get like public evented at that point and reset your
Do you
progress.
know? Do you know that the fishing tracker is broken?
Is it really?
You can have up to 500 bait, but they weren't anticipating players to continue catching fish over 500.
Oh
So
shit!
some guy deposited 1,500 fish at one time
Oh no!
just because it's all he did.
Oh my god! It was funny thing too. When I was thinking about that, I was literally thinking back the same thing. Like, what happened if I like fish over the 500 limit? Like, I literally thought about that too. I didn't think somebody actually went and did that.
No, it doesn't stop. Yeah, they like because the tracker itself will say like 1,000 out of 500.
Jesus Christ! Imagine bringing that to the helm and just how big of a like box you have to have just to hold that many fish too as well.
Back to the survey. I'm going to list the options that it gave, and I want to know your opinions on them.
All right.
The first one states more cooperative gameplay content.
That seems pretty like normal, if anything.
I don't think that's necessary considering the entire game is co-op.
That is true though. Like like 3/4 of it is co-op, while the other quarter is PvP at that point.
So I don't know who thought that was a good idea. I mean, maybe like different content, sure.
Unless they like make it to where it's like you can have between like 3 to 6 people, like not be restricted between 3 people and 6 people at least.
I think more 6-player content would be good because this season we got a salvage operation which actually has 6 players, and that is actually a nice change of pace from the usual 3.
Yeah, because the last time I think they did that was, I think, the season of the Splicer, where they had a 6 people like activity and everything too as well, which was pretty interesting.
The next one is competitive leaderboards.
That one would be very interesting, especially depending on what activities you have the leaderboards under. That would be pretty interesting because you would be fighting against other people, but also let alone your own friends too as well, just to try to get the better of everything at that point.
I'm just saying, if there was a fishing leaderboard, I would strive to be the number one fisher in all of Destiny. I don't care what anyone says.
Dude, I'm gonna see you on Destiny fishing at that point. It's like, oh, he's on it again.
Oh, if I could AFK fish just constantly with like free bait, I would. I mean, technically you could. It's just you have to click every time.
You just have to listen to the sound noise. That's all.
The next one actually leads into that life skill systems. So, for example, that includes cooking, harvesting, fishing, and crafting.
That crafting kind of is in there a little bit, but I don't know what other crafting stuff would be. But the other two, actually, I would really actually kind of enjoy that. Like, it'd be interesting. It would bring more life into the game other than like shoot, kill, and other stuff.
It would make the gathering like resource nodes actually worth something.
Yeah,
Considering all they're used for right now is just fishing bait.
basically like for planetary bait or glimmer at that point, if anything.
But I think it'd be cool for like increased drop rate or void resistance, damage up temporarily for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, like bonus
that.
stats for that, anything like that.
Larger player count activities, so anything over 6.
Ooh, that would be very interesting to see. Especially if it's almost like a Oryx tier kind of like boss, like a huge boss and everything. That would bring the MMO part of Destiny like fully into it at that point. Especially since, as I said before, it used to be advertised as a first person MMO and everything.
I think like an 8-player activity would be pretty balanced. I think like an 8-player raid would really change the game.
Oh yeah, that'd be a lot of communication though, if anything. But yeah, that would be pretty. That would be pretty fun, if anything. Like if they can manage to do that, that would be very interesting to try out, if anything like that.
Melee weapons slash close quarter combat.
Like glaives, swords, kind of like stuff,
See,
or
that's my thought. Is we already have glaives and swords, but maybe like a primary version of that.
either that, or they could be doing like something like with like fist extensions, like basically like punching, like something like that.
That'd be cool, like an arc punch, or
Yeah,
like I mean, like you can obviously arc punch, but like a weapon that generates arc charge to release those charges through primary or something. That'd
yeah,
be
or
kind of cool.
because I can think of like maybe an exotic they could do like that would be similar to like the Titan's arc like charge punch. That like if you charge it up, it'll send out a shock bolt wave and everything too as well. Except it'd be for like other like classes and everything too as well. That'd be very interesting concept. See how they go through with that.
This next one is interesting, and I have a subsequent question after this.
Okay.
The next one is character relationship systems. So building affinity, unlocking story. One, how do you feel about that? Yeah, you think that'd be a cool idea?
Yeah, that'd be a cool idea, especially if it like kind of diaper. My bad. Dives deeper into like the character's backstory. Like what if you try to like get closer to the Drifter and everything? Because we kind of really don't know much of the Drifter and his lore unless you really look in his backstory and everything. Which I don't
You could
think
actually implement that with the current system. Just if
really.
you continue. What I'm thinking is if you continue the seasonal rank progression, like the tier unlocks as you currently do,
Oh,
you
like the
could
shop
get
stuff.
different dialogue options. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be interesting, especially as I said, like there's certain characters that enter that you kind of do know most of their backstory, but there's certain ones that like you don't know much of them. So if you get closer to them, that you kind of get the relationship, because you kind of notice that too, especially with if you play from Destiny 1 to the current one, you notice that even then, like even without all that relationship stuff, you notice that the characters are actually like closer to your guardian and everything, like especially with like back in Forsaken too, like when the character for like you can tell that Cade and your character were close together too. And once Cade died and everything, you could tell how heartbroken your or like how pissed your guardian was too. Just from that alone, you can tell the relationship was close between each one, but to actually implement it more into the game would be pretty cool too as well.
Going into that and the Cade announcement, they were also discussing the possibility of New Crow meeting Cade again and how that would go.
Oh my god, I forgot. I completely forgot about that. That's gonna be very interesting interaction if when that happens, especially with Cade like beating his killer, but yet he's basically like a new guardian and everything too. And this was also especially after the fact that Crow found out about his past and everything, what he did to the vanguards and everything too. That's gonna be very interesting to like see at that point.
So, my next question is if there was a relationship system, who would you attempt to romance?
To romance, huh? Oh,
Yeah.
that's a very interesting question.
I think I
Cause
have two answers.
let's go with your answers. So at least I can kind of think about it.
I would do Mother Mara Sov.
Okay, got it, got it.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
All right.
And then I think I would do Cade. If I could just romance Cade into sweet, sweet nothings, I would absolutely do so just for the fuck of it.
Right, that would be amazing. I actually do kind of have like at least maybe two, if anything. It would either be between what's her name, Robo Lady from Europa. What's her name?
Oh, that's
Anna
a good.
Anna Bray.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, Anna Bray. And fuck, who would be another good one? That's
I
a
was afraid
good
you were going to
question.
say like Ida or something. I was like, oh no, please don't do
Ida.
Ida.
What's no, no,
Well, you said
no.
robot, and I was.
Oh
I
no,
freaked out
no,
for a
no,
second.
no, no. Freaking Anna Bray definitely, and ironically, her sister, if anything, the two sisters,
Yeah,
if
the
anything,
Exo
yeah,
Stranger. That'd be two good
yeah,
ones for sure.
yeah. So that's kind of like my two, at least at that point.
The next one is playable characters and heroes pre-made.
That would be interesting, especially the fact that like if they're already in lore and your guardian heard the history of them. If anything, that would be very interesting stuff.
I think I'd even be okay with like going back and playing as
Like,
the story missions that require the old Guardian teams that we hear from lore, and like it just drops you into one of three, and you're forced to play through that scenario.
yeah, like the Iron Lords or like the OG team that was shown on the trailers and the Destiny live action trailers too.
Yeah,
Like that would be pretty interesting to actually try out, if anything.
or even the fire team listed in the new dungeon. Like that would be
Oh
freaking
yeah.
awesome.
Or the one that like went and fought Crota and everything too as well. Like actually see it
Yeah.
from their eyes. That would be very interesting to try out.
Strategic, slower paced game modes. I don't know how you would do that.
Yeah, because also didn't they get backlash for the OG Destiny 2 being too slow at that point?
I believe so.
Because that's why they implemented the system that we're at right now, that it's a lot more faster paced gameplay and everything too.
More single player gameplay content.
I would not mind that at all, if anything, especially going through the story. Like if they somehow made sub stories from it, that would be a very interesting thing. But that'd be kind of like,
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that one. I think an offline mode would be nice, but I mean, I get the fact that that's not possible. You would have to download like 300 gigs worth of assets just to play.
yeah, and plus also there'd be a lot of like people deep diving into those assets too as well to find like future stuff as well. So that's be kind of risky as well too.
Yeah. Crossover content with other brand IPs. I mean, the only thing we currently get from crossover content is like they just did the PlayStation X Destiny 2 stuff where we got several different paid armor sets, but I think I don't know how that would go.
Yeah, because at that point, you'd be kind of going into like Fortnite territory at that point, if anything.
Right. Third person combat. Now we already have a little bit of this. If you don't know already, you can do the Scorch Cannon option in PvP, and that forces you into a third person perspective. But I don't know.
There's also remember, like you're also in third person when you're using the swords too as well.
Right.
I don't know, because that's kind of giving me also going back to when Apex was doing a third person mode and everything too, and that one was already kind of like a little like jarring as it is because of the fact too that like when you zoom in, you're kind of like only zooming in the screen. You're not really zooming into the scopes and everything too. So it's a little something, especially with like snipers and stuff too. That's gonna be, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think and the hip fire spread is so awful already
Yeah,
that I don't think I'd actually go into it.
yeah, I would not recommend that either.
More competitive gameplay content.
Like PvP stuff or
See, that's the thing. It's too vague. I don't actually know competitive fishing. Give me a fishing tournament, and
right,
you will see me at every event.
like speedrunning kind of things at that point.
Maybe. I mean, like, there's Guardian games and stuff, but, like,
Yeah,
I think that's pretty okay.
yeah, it was okay at least for like what we have at the moment, if anything.
I'm going to challenge this next one. It says more open world maps.
Ooh, so like brand new maps or like bringing back some of the old maps?
I'll leave that to your interpretation.
Apart from the way it seemed like, it sounded like maybe a mixture of the two, if anything. Because there's certain ones that like I think will be pretty cool to come back to, but also then like that's gonna go straight into the next topic at that point. So
I think larger maps would be what I want.
that would be pretty cool. I would think more dynamic maps, if anything, like more into like a little bit more stuff in the background and everything. Because some of the stuff are pretty good, but like it does seem like there's not really much life into the maps at certain points too as well.
Or even going to the last city, like going beneath the tower and actually being able to explore.
That would be pretty cool, yeah, to actually
Or
finally
going
interact.
deep through the heart of Neomuna, the city. Like, that would be incredible.
That would be really cool because there are certain parts of the maps that we see that like looks that we want to travel and everything, but we still haven't gotten the chance to at that point.
I would even encourage like level-based player hubs at some point. Like when you reach like quote unquote, let's say level 20, you unlock the tower. Level 40, you unlock like a Neomuna player hub where
Mm.
everyone's gathered. I think going to the tower then going to Helm is just a little light. I would like to see different locations where we can gather all of our friends and have a cool hub for that stuff.
I kind of There's the one hub I really do want to see come back and everything is the old tower from back in D1.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, because there's also, remember, there was that specific bar where they had the if you play a jukebox, it'll play that one specific tone that was it David Bowie did for the
Oh
freaking
yeah.
game. Yeah, was it Shoot for the Moons or something like Shoot for the Stars or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The next one is ways to connect or communicate with others.
Like an in-game messaging system, I'm guessing.
Maybe a better one. Like a messaging system would be cool.
That would be cool.
Maybe being able to queue up and party up from different locations, I think would be cool.
That would be cool if
Or
anything.
being able to split the party, but like still gain resources for clans or whatever. Like if I want to go farm stuff, like fishing stuff, you want to go do strikes, we're not limited to having to be in a fire team doing the same activities. I think maybe branching that off, but still being able to communicate with each other would still be a good idea.
That would be cool. And also, like, ironically, like, bring back from the topic before with the hubs and everything, it would be cool to have our own clan hub. So, like, everybody that joins in the clan actually will have their own
That
space
would
and
be
everything.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah, and you could actually customize it, or, like, you can even talk to the team leader, like, see if you can customize, like, little stuff and everything, too.
I'd even be okay with, like, one of the little side rooms currently in the tower that's, like, in the hangar area that's just, like, a dedicated space for us.
Yeah, or it'd be cool, like, especially, like, trying to combine the two, like have a last city hub, like where you go in there and everything too, but also have like streets lined up of like different clans trying to recruit and everything too as well. And you can check in their hub and actually talk to like some of the clan members and everything, and actually be able to like do that and everything, like make recruiting days a thing.
Yeah.
Too. That would be pretty cool.
The next one's player generated content.
Like stickers?
I'm assuming I think it's like a forge mode.
Oh, that would be interesting. Or make your own emblems kind of thing.
That'd be kind of cool. Although you're gonna have like Call of Duty like titty emblems all over the place, but I'm not complaining.
Yeah, I'm sure that. Although I'm sure that they'll probably have like any like censorship system, if anything like that too, just in case. Because I've seen some actual community made like emblems that actually looks pretty cool too, that I've seen on Twitter and everything.
Yeah.
But that would be interesting though, to have like an actual community made maps. Especially like that would probably help out the PvP most of all too.
Or even community made game modes. I think that'd be phenomenal.
That would be cool. Or like community made strikes modes, if anything too.
Yeah, like strike challenge stuff. That'd be cool. Like maybe mixing up different bosses and different strikes and like, that'd be sick.
Yeah,
that'd
like bring back like also then they could bring back like old like bosses and stuff too as well from D1, so they can actually have use in from instead of just staying in Vault.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that one. Game modes that incorporate other genres. For example, tower defense, roguelikes, and battle royales.
I think I remember seeing that and I was like thinking that like I don't know how that would be implemented well at that point, especially like the tower defense one.
Right.
Unless if you really think about like maybe you could do it something almost similar to like the Red War where you're invading stuff. Like they're invading Kambal and you have to try to fix up towers or make towers and everything like that.
I don't think I'd want like 100-person battle royale, but maybe if I had like a 24-person large map free for all, I would consider.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. Oh god, imagine how much like if it was like a mayhem type of part where you're basically just like like you just see nothing but supers, like freaking grenade throws and everything on there.
Oh, bro, I'm telling you right now, I would just rock Stealth Hunter.
Yeah,
and just go invis for the vast majority of the time.
Jeez, I would do probably nothing but like the hammer, or if not the shield bash at that point. Throw my shield like freaking Captain America I am.
The next one's, I think, what you were referring to that caught your attention. The next one is ship combat / space battles.
Oh my god, I would so love to have that, if anything. Because we have ships that you can clearly see that there's weapons on there. And the fact that they're not being used, and the only time we ever see them in combat is during the cutscenes. that would be very good to have, if anything, especially fly into like actual combat system, and you have to fight your way down to the planet and everything too.
I think my idea here kind of incorporates all of the things that we've kind of talked about a little bit. Is if you have larger maps that can support larger player bases in zones, like for example, it's like 5 to 6 players in a zone currently.
Yeah.
But if you could expand that to like 12, 14, 20, maybe have like large scale assault battles that you guys have to power for control over.
So basically, I'm kind of thinking like the way you're thinking, like almost like Battlefront, OG Battlefront 2 space battles, basically kind of like thing.
I'm not even referring to space battles. I'm even just referring to ground combat.
That's kind of what I'm saying, like as ground combat, like going from ships to like down below and everything, kind of like that.
Yeah, I think larger scale public events would be a cool idea.
That would be a pretty cool idea to incorporate everything like that into one single area.
But the other hard part about that is with the current Destiny player base, there's not enough players to encourage that unless you just start like deleting servers of several of those instances to force more players into those zones.
Yeah, or they could, because also then like even with like a lot of people in the zone, like I still haven't seen a lot like in one zone at all. Because I think they might need to up the zone instance at that point, like the player count and everything too, because I think they have it restricted to how many players there is.
I've seen an increase, but I've only seen an increase because of fishing.
That is true. Yeah, you're not wrong on that one. That is true.
The last one on the list is Prestige System. So it's like a seasonal leveling system.
That would be very interesting to, like, the only thing I would say it would be interesting to put in is if the rewards are good enough for it after you
Right.
prestige. That's the only thing. Like, I would say it would be pretty good to put it in if your rewards are really good at that point.
So moving on to our final topic, what did you think of the current start to Season of the Deep?
It's a pretty interesting start, if anything, I would like to say, especially going back to, if I want to say the story at that point, it's the fact that we're meeting our old character Sloane, and the fact that how she is at the moment right now. It's kind of interesting, especially why she summoned us over there. It's an interesting concept. I'm just kind of wondering like where is it going to take us at that point.
This one is supposed to be very like Veil lore heavy season, which is definitely what we're needing after the clusterfuck that was Lightfall with no information and we just lose.
Yeah, that previous season was a very light on like lore and everything, especially with, as we complained of the last one, just the story alone wasn't really like going anywhere at that point. It was just kind of, it was mostly just to tell us that Amanda is kind of dead at that point, basically.
So, do you want me to give you the bad news now or later?
What's the bad news now?
I looked into the triumphs for the current season.
Uh-huh.
There are only, I believe, 2 total new additional activities for salvage and deep dive.
Oh god damn. That already damn. All right.
So there's only 4 different variations of both of those game modes total that you can do, and the rest of it's just going to be a seasonal grind again.
So literally, it's like we already saw 2 of them already, and now it's another 2 that we're waiting on at that point, and then the whole rotation.
Only reason I know that is because it listed the boss clears for that title.
Ah, got it. Yeah, that makes, yeah.
So I hope we're not going to hit another lull. You and I might have to start getting back into raiding.
Yeah,
which I'm not
least.
opposed to because the last Wish raid now gives you craftable
Oh yeah, huh?
raid weapons. So
Yeah, because
those
you
are
got
gonna
that.
be God roll. Teams.
Yeah, that's gonna be very interesting to try and get those ones, because I've been loving my craftable weapons from like what I previously crafted and everything, like the shotgun and the BR that I had.
Did I tell you I hit like weapon level 200 on my osteo?
Are you serious? That goddamn dude.
For 2
Holy
seasons
shit.
all of Lightfall. That's my only weapon of choice.
Oh my
is
god.
osteo.
Jeez, I'm still trying to get my freaking. God damn, dude. Holy shit. That's
new
amazing.
That new Arc Hunter build I just did with Shinobu's Vow is actually really, really good.
That is actually really good at clearing
Because I
a
was
lot
just
of people.
chucking grenades, and I was just sitting there waiting at spawn while we were doing the new dungeon. But we'll get into the new
Yeah, of
dungeon
course.
next episode. But overall, like I like the. I mean, it's got that shiny like new car smell to it, right? Like
Yeah.
the season's good because it has different content. If you ask me again in maybe 3 or 4 weeks, I'm probably gonna tell you that I'm already done.
Yeah, like it's gonna start slowly getting back into that like how we were last season. Like all right, we need new stuff. All right, come on now, we need new stuff because also then like it's gonna slowly start getting into the holiday stuff and everything too. Like for Thanksgiving, then to
Right.
October for
We got the
Halloween.
Halloween event coming up. We got
Yeah, then the baking cookies again too as well.
yep, snowball fights.
That's right. But oh, also then, what you think about the new seasonal weapon that they gave us too as well?
Oh, which one are you referring to?
The arc weapon, the energy weapon.
So I was using that in conjunction with my Arc Hunter build,
Yeah.
and it's great for procking everything I need. I'm not super in love with it, just because
Yeah.
Osteo is such a good ad clear when you have like necrotic grips and strand on your warlock. But and even for my hunter, it's working wonders. But like, it's not bad. It's just not my cup of tea. It just feels slow for me comparing to firing an SMG.
Yeah. So yeah, because I haven't like I'm at least with like since you've been like on the like one weapon thing, I've been kind of switching up my weapons from like auto rifles to like pulse rifles and all sorts of stuff like that.
Hmm.
At least comparing it from that and everything, so I have like a lot more like general build or like general like consensus of like how weapons feels and everything. It, to me, it's not bad. The only problem I have is the charge up on it, because especially if you like just shoot straight only, and the fact that your weapon doesn't like, and you have to wait a little bit for your weapon. You have to run around for your weapon like ammo to count to be rebuilt and everything too. It's not bad. It's just the fact that of getting that charge stay up, and the fact that you have to run around to keep your weapon like reloaded, and then you have to shoot again too. Like I've been noticing that if I want to keep continually using the max use of that weapon, I have to shoot almost all the way down to my like I can even shoot all the way down to like no ammo account at all. Run around for a couple of seconds, literally do nothing but that, and then shoot again. At that point, it's like there's like times of where you're just like not shooting at all, just waiting for enemies, which could be detrimental at certain points of the games and everything that you're playing.
I wonder if the catalyst helps with that, because I don't actually know what the catalyst does because I haven't unlocked it yet. I'm still working on the calibration requirement, which is awful.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that the catalyst at least like give us a lot more extended, or the fact that it doesn't give away your arc charge while reloading the weapon alone itself.
Well, thank you for tuning into episode 2 of the Skillless podcast. You can find us on all of our socials at _Team No Skill on Instagram and Twitter, as well as our YouTube at Team No Skill _. Seph, do you have anything else for the people?
Nope, definitely not. But hopefully that you enjoyed the podcast and everything, at least especially for this episode, and hopefully next time that it won't be another Destiny centric video at least.
No, I think, well, next week, I'm just letting you know, Diablo comes out. But we'll save that for next week. We will catch you guys next time.
See you later.
I'm not. I'm not back into it. I'm not. You're not into it. I'm not. I'm not back into it.